This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Hey, aren't older people supposed to like their cars more than the little kiddos? There was once a time that was said about millennials, but now we're the biggest car buying group of any generation. And here's another interesting data point we ran across in a Ward's interview with Ford futurist Cheryl Connolly. She cites a survey that indicates 50% of Gen Z, age 18 to 24, give their vehicle a nickname, while only 20% of baby boomers, late 50s to mid 70s, do the same thing. And we agree with Connolly, who says, it's an interesting difference. But why do you think there's such a big difference? And also let us know any nicknames for your car. Tesla is under the gun over safety concerns involving its full self-driving system. And now it's being forced to recall nearly 54,000 vehicles in the U.S. because FSD allows cars to roll through stop signs without coming to a full stop. NHTSA says Tesla agreed to perform an over-the-air update to disable that function, which only works when the vehicle is traveling below 5.6 miles per hour and no other cars, pedestrians, or bicyclists are near the intersection. Tesla says it's not aware of any warranty claims, crashes, injuries, or fatalities involving the recall. And here's our Autoline insight. Too bad NHTSA is being so picky. Coming to a complete stop when there's no need to wastes battery power in EVs and wastes gasoline in ICEs. We think Tesla got it right. And besides, do any of you come to a complete stop when no one else is around? Rivian already delayed production of its truck and SUV with its big battery pack, and now it's arguing with its battery supplier, Samsung SDI. They were going to form a joint venture in the U.S. to produce battery cells, but the talks fell apart. The Elect reports that Rivian took longer than expected to ramp up production. That was one issue, and Rivian made demands that Samsung was unwilling to agree to. Rivian wanted Samsung to transfer its battery-making technology, it wanted rights to inspect battery plants, and it didn't guarantee how many batteries it would buy. So now Rivian is going to have to find a new partner. And we've got to believe there's a lot more to the story that hasn't come out yet. COVID lockdowns really seem to shine a light on the ease of online car sales. And there's a greater push than ever from traditional automakers to adopt the practice. For example, Porsche says it now has 26 markets around the world where its vehicles can be ordered online, and 94% of its dealers list their new and used vehicles in a digital marketplace. Last year, around 5,800 Porsche vehicles were sold online, 3 times higher than 2020. What's more, about 110,000 leads were generated online in 2021, an increase of 61%. But it's still a slow transition for Porsche, at least right now. While it did sell about 5,800 vehicles online, it delivered nearly 302,000 vehicles worldwide last year.
Mobility is becoming electric, connected, and autonomous, just like the manufacturing world. But will always be one thing: a reliable partner for our customers.
Toyota got into the full-size pickup segment in 1999. Even so, it really hasn't cracked the code on how to compete with the big guns. Last year, it sold 82,000 Tundras, compared to the 656,000 F-Series that Ford sold. So to try and boost sales, Toyota is expanding the lineup. This is the new top-of-the-line luxury trim called Capstone. Toyota is positioning this as a luxury vehicle, and that's reflected in the price. The hybrid version starts at $73,500. That includes air suspension, acoustic glass, standard 22-inch wheels, and a 10-inch head-up display. The interior is well appointed and has an upscale feel. However, we feel it falls short of a Ram 1500, which to us has the best interior of all the big pickups. The hybrid, called iForce Max, is a 3.5-liter V6 mated to a 10-speed automatic. Toyota's other hybrids use a 2-electric motor setup. However, for the first time, Toyota is using a single motor for the Tundra. That's because it couldn't get the continuous full torque out of the 2-motor system, and we all know how important torque is for big truck owners. The hybrid cranks out 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. 4x2 models get an estimated 22 miles to the gallon combined, while 4x4 models get one less. We got to drive the hybrid off-road in a TRD Pro, and it was more than capable. And since a diesel is not offered, Toyota engineers worked to match the hybrid's torque curve with a diesel, so it has good instant low-end torque, which was needed for the Airstream trailer we got to tow. Toyota says it expects the hybrid to make up 25% of the Tundra mix, and we really like the truck, so we think that's possible. Now we'll just have to wait and see if it has the right combination to boost sales. Subaru and Cadillac are the best, Tesla and Hyundai are the worst. Those are the results of a study by the AAA of driver monitoring systems for semi-autonomous driving. The AAA tested a Subaru Forester, a Cadillac Escalade, a Hyundai Santa Fe, and a Tesla Model 3 to see how well they kept drivers engaged. Both the Subaru and Cadillac use a camera to monitor what the driver is doing. Hyundai and Tesla only use steering wheel sensors. The AAA found that the camera-based systems alerted drivers 50 seconds sooner that they needed to pay attention to traffic and their surroundings. In fact, it found that the camera systems kept drivers engaged 5 times more than the steering wheel systems.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Automakers like to make it sound like they make everything on their vehicles, but we all know they rely heavily on suppliers for much of their innovation and technology. So it's little surprise to learn that the secondary motors on the all-wheel drive versions of Volkswagen's ID.4 came from Magna and its joint venture partner Hasco. In fact, Magna and Hasco supply all of the secondary motors for Volkswagen Group's all-wheel drive MEB models with power greater than 185 kilowatts. The package you see here includes the induction electric motor, an integrated single-speed gearbox, a high-voltage inverter, and the corresponding software and controls. While Magna didn't tell us about the cost, other sources tell Autoline that you can buy a package like this for less than the cost of a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, and that doesn't include the cost of the transmission or electronic controls for the engine. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of how much cheaper some EV components are compared to their internal combustion counterparts. Who's got the best EV charging network in the US? Well, guess what? It's not Tesla. That's according to a study by Umlaut, the engineering firm that's now a part of Accenture. It randomly tested EV chargers in 7 states, and it tested them all, including Electrify America, Tesla Superchargers, ChargePoint, EVgo, Greenlots, Blink, and EV Connect. And it ranked them in exactly that order. Umlaut tested the chargers, the charging apps from these companies, and whether the charging stations had nearby places to eat or use the bathroom. They used a Tesla Model 3 and a Mustang Mach-E. And overall, it says public charging stations are getting better and better. Speaking of EV charging, well, sort of, Reuters reports that India will introduce a new policy for battery swapping in the country. It hopes the move will boost sales of electric vehicles, which will help India reach its goal to cut carbon emissions up to 35% by 2030. And the reasons it's focused on battery swapping are because of space constraints in urban areas and an insufficient charging infrastructure. Several companies, including Honda, have already shown and tested electric motorbikes and small vehicles like tuk-tuks with swappable battery systems. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back here again tomorrow.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Scheffler, we pioneer motion.